so they will absolutely be among the top, as well as the Hungarians. So now the girls are ready to start.
Junior women, last boat backing onto the line there. The officials wearing blue, they'll signal to the starter that everyone's on the pontoon. Nice big spaces between the boats this morning, always a bit of a luxury that, Stefan. It can get very tight on the start lines, a little bit stressful.
And we can see Ruud Heisler, the traditional starter in marathon, doing the ready go since beginning of the 80s, I think, or mid 80s.
1780s, I believe.
And he's there on the pontoon in his blue jacket, lining them up, ensuring a good start, a fair start for everyone.
So fifth up from the bottom of the picture, Korsos and Nagy, black boat. From the left of your picture now, the black boat, Korsos and Nagy, some of the favourites. Fichetti we saw yesterday, so strong on the finish. He didn't portage well. Oh, somebody's come off the start pontoon. So there's some sort of issue, maybe not lined up in numerical order. Canoeists and athletes generally struggle with numeracy sometimes, Stefan. It's not an easy concept, ascending numbers, but we're getting there. As a sport, education's a big part of an athlete's future. So they're just backing in to where they should have lined up in the first place. That's the Ukrainian girls, Pizarenko and Shabianyuk from Ukraine. And off they go.
And it's Italy that is taking the lead out there.
Spaniards also second up from the bottom, Tirado and Figueroa also going well. In the middle of the picture is the Hungarians,
and
as
Denmark.
You'd expect. Great Britain hanging in there too. And there's a bit of a coming together. It's going to get a bit close for the girls in this. There's going to be a few people stopping paddling. 1, 2, 3, 4 boats all taken out. This has fallen beautifully for Great Britain, who tucked straight on the V-wash. That's Fichetti leading. Fichetti and Tanker, they're leading. Great Britain slotted beautifully into the V. This is great news for us. Italians also there to the right of the Hungarians. That's Hungary leading, 359, Fichetti and Tanker. Great Britain, Peters and Russell cleanly away. Leading the second group there is the Hungarians. That will add to the confusion later as they bring other people back into this front group. But for now, it's Hungary, Great Britain, Spain and Italy.
And they're all well together. And this is a good view of how it feels to be in such a big group. It's boats and paddles and rough water everywhere. You need really to stay attentive to what's going on.
The top turn isn't far from the start, Stefan, so the groups tend to be quite big when we get there. This group's going to close in because of the second Hungarians. They should just make contact by the turn. So it's going to be a little bit confusing. And we saw yesterday the back of some of the boats being clipped by boats behind them, and that's a real risk, especially in the K2s.
And it's quite a sharp turn down there, and now they have trying to make it a little bit more smooth for today's racing. The first turning buoy was quite sharp yesterday. It's Italy, both the Italian boats, Teresa Isciuto and Natalia Campagna, together with Bianca Carnevola and Chiara Agostinetti.
And the Plaid sisters hanging in there with the Hungarians, trying to get a lift up to that front group. It's going to be quite tight for them. They're just falling off the back now. But it's going to be, after this turn, 2 Hungarians, 2 Italians, a Spaniard and Great Britain come out of this turn in the front group. Inside Italians are getting a little bit squeezed. They're getting bulked. They're going to get pinballed back to the back of the group.
But the first turning buoy was a lot better today.
Italians are going to struggle to get outside that buoy, and that's going to hurt the Hungarians as well as they push wide. There you go. There's a coming together there. So 2 Hungarian crews have survived it. It's the second Italian crew that may not make the cut. So at the moment it's 3 just 3 boats away. Hungary, Great Britain and Italy. That's the front group. A small gap back to whoever survived the impacts on the turn. So the second Hungarians are going to bridge that gap. Spaniards and Italians are going to... So all fairly well organised. It's not far back to the second group of 3. So apologies to people out there if they're losing signal occasionally. It's all being worked on. So that gap is closing quicker than we thought, I think. So looks too slow. You can see how slow it is in that front group. So it's the women. Paddle back down to the portage. Not the portage is through. And the Hungarians doing the same as they did yesterday up the left-hand side of the river, but they've got enough lead to make this stick. This is the group on the right-hand side. They'll gain a little bit. We saw that yesterday. It's Denmark, 361, Sorensen and Moretti.
Going in the middle of the river instead of on this side.
We saw it work for the K1s yesterday.
Yes.
They very much caught up on that side, just about made contact. And it was the Hungarians who did the left-hand side yesterday. Clearly didn't bother them too much. New leader.
And the tail-enders in the women's race is Hidalgo Roca from Spain and Moraes and Sa from Portugal.
So Italians taking up the pull at the front, revolving that group quite nicely as they cross over with the canoe paddlers. Look at that, still 6 in the front group for the canoe paddlers. It's now Patrick Gluser, 4th boat in that chain. Looks like we could have a bit of a change up front in the women's race. Could be down to a 3-boat group. I think it is down to a 3-boat group now. The 2 Hungarians and Great Britain. So leading at the moment is Fekete and Tanka from Korsos and Nagy, and it's only Russell and Peters that have managed to stay with them. Great decision from Freya Peters there. Dropped off the second wash. Just sit neatly on the half V for a while. Only move up if you're comfortable enough to do it. Up they go. And that is beautiful work from Freya Peters, Emma Russell. Nicely done.
And the Hungarians work well together, as it seems. Dorina Fekete, the winner of yesterday, in one of the boats, and Victoria Nagy, who had a silver medal yesterday, in the other. So Nagy paddling with Sofia Korsos, both of them doing this race also last year winning when they were first year juniors. But we saw Dorina Fekete yesterday doing a great race, winning this. Today paddling with Emese Tanka.
But last year at this stage, Peters and Russell from Great Britain were still in the front group, but it was desperate stuff last year. This year they look much more relaxed. They're matching the Hungarians for quality here. Able to change washes when they want to, and very encouraging for these two. Freya Peters from Richmond Canoe Club, Emma Russell from Chelmsford. Two of the traditionally very strong clubs, always up in the top 2 or 3 in club championships back in the UK.
They finished 6th last year. Very good results for first year.
6th last year was a phenomenal result for them, and it was one of the highlights of the competition for me. And to see them step it up, and actually, you know, they look like they belong in this group today. They're not struggling. So it's a big step up for them.
So 2 of these 3 boats were within the top also last year, which is quite unusual for juniors.
Italians just had a gap opened up on them, some 15 seconds, maybe only 10 there, and the second group still not far behind. The Italians will be swallowed up by them in the next few minutes, I think. Belgium's looking a little bit hesitant on the inside of the turn there, but they've got round well with the other girls.
Denmark still doing most of the hard work there on top.
I think they're really the only ones with the strength in that group to potentially close this gap.
And I think
Speed's been put up again.
They will close the gap to Italy soon, behind the top 3.
Great Britain girls being tested a little bit here on the half V.
And it's Corses and Nagy that is pulling now hard.
These 2 Italians stuck in no man's land midway between the first and essentially the second group.
They will be caught soon.
It's really a journey backwards from there, isn't it, Stefan? They're going to regroup when they get to that second group and then decide if they want to make a challenge for it or not. It's kind of an air of inevitability for those Italians now. The Danes will close them down and that group will swallow them. So they made a good shot of it to be in the front group. It would have been interesting to see how they fell off. Maybe just a turn of speed from the Hungarians, but now as the 2 races cross over, still a group of 6 in the men's C1. So a little bit of chaos. The girls did well there to see that coming, really. And there's chaos on the left-hand side of the C1 group as well, as the Portuguese clips the back of the Hungarian boat, takes them both out the picture to the left-hand side. It's not a Hungarian, sorry, it's Portuguese and Polish. The 3 lead boats in the women's K2 settling in, and they're going to come into their first portage in just a few minutes now. But here, back at the front of the C1 race, it's Daniel Lexo in the green and black boat, just trying to make his way back to the group after the little bit of contact.
For Nagy, for the Hungarians.
In the K2?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's going to add some interest here then. So what accident did we have with the Italians, presumably?
We didn't see.
So it's something we can't really help you with there, but there's a 15-second time penalty for the Hungarians in the white boat. Now that could take them back to the second group. It's not far from the second group, 15 seconds. They're not going to be best pleased with that. Up, out, grab the boat, pretty well done there. Not so from Fichetti, who continues her form from yesterday on the portages. So this is fantastic for Great Britain. So the Hungarian crew coming through now has a 15-second penalty. They're arguing it. They don't see what they've done wrong. I'm sure there's some pretty choice language, all in Hungarian though. Great Britain are going to get in the water first, clear from the other Hungarians who have completely messed up their portage. So fortunately for these 2, the other 2 have messed up so badly that they're going to get in together anyway.
Yeah.
So that is unbelievably lucky for those Great Britain girls make it. Now, if you're in the back of the boat, and the Great Britain team there, if the back of the boat gets pushed out further than the front, you can't go anywhere.
That was quite amazing.
This is chaos. This is chaos. Man, if ever you want to learn how not to do this, this is a crew with a 15-second penalty who've come out on the portage first. Seriously?
Amazing.
That is not, that's just not possible.
And watch their faces there. They are so...
Fichetti in her boat. I mean, if you could do a comedy portage, there it was right there. For the Great Britain girls, they didn't capitalise. They had a 15-second lead getting into the water, and now they're 5 seconds behind. That is... I know, there's some learning to be done there. There really is.
A very interesting portage.
The crew that had a 15-second time penalty are now on their own at the front of this race. That's just bizarre.
So the Fichetti and Tanka missed totally when jumping out of their boat, and Russell and Peters missed to get into the boat properly. So it's as always, you can lose a lot of ground in the portage. It's hard to win anything. While Corses and Nagy had a 15-second penalty and relaxed there and made the rest of the portage quite neat and easy.
We saw Fichetti yesterday in this position. She caught up 3 times yesterday, I think, and then still won the race. So yeah, for Peters and Russell, they've got a little bit of a lifeline there. Looking back on that, they're going to be disappointed with what happened there.
Yeah.
Surely, you know, that goes down to a mistake. Essentially, they lost 25 seconds over a portage.
Yeah, they must have done that. And these girls are angry now. So the eyes of Nagy.
You don't poke a bear with a stick, Stefan, and they have been upset at the portage. They didn't see why they had to suffer a 15-second penalty. They were clearly upset about it. They were arguing with the judges.
So the eyes of Nagy sitting behind. She was really not happy.
Fichetti on a mission to close them down. Really hope that our girls can stay with them.
"11 seconds now.
11 seconds the gap. We saw Fichetti close that yesterday more than once. It looked like they've got a big lead on the second group now. But for now, Corsos and Nagy are on a mission.
It's 30 seconds down to the second group with Italy, Belgium and Denmark.
But back to the...
and after them, Davidov on his own, 31 seconds behind. Germany, Sven Tosh, 1 minute 25, together with Calvo from Spain, 1:25 as well, and Ferraina from Italy, 1:26. Pinto from Portugal, 2 minutes behind, together with Sailing from Hungary.
So, while Stefan was giving you a time check on the canoes, junior women around the top turn, absolutely massive gap now between Corsos and Nagy and the rest. The rest are led by Fichetti and her partner Tanka. Great Britain hanging in there nicely. They look fairly settled. The gap back to the second group, I think, is also growing now. Still not broken, that gap though. It's still closable by that second, or no, what is now the third group.
So controlled.
This K2 is proper class. He moves so well with the two of them. Second Hungarian boat is strong, but it doesn't move as cleanly as the first one. And now these two look pretty much settled. Facchetti, we know, is strong on the water. She admitted to you yesterday portaging wasn't her strong point.
Exactly.
I think in order to prove that, she showed us again today. And she's got a few more portages to go till the end. And at this stage, she just must be dreading it. She must just think not another one of those coming up. I'm sure her team management are thinking the same. Got a few comments coming in on the live chat from some old marathon pros there about the portaging in this race. But this looks very, very tidy. No stress, no fuss. We know now they can take a 15-second penalty on every portage and still come out in front. So maybe stopping for lunch on this one. So Peters and Russell taking the lead, coming down towards the second portage. Probably a couple of minutes to go.
Halfway through the race. Coming to the portage, they've done 10.8 kilometers.
And for that, for Great Britain and Hungary, I would say the danger, and it's becoming a very real danger, is the group behind them now. The gap between first and second and third is bigger now than the gap between second and third and the chasing pack. And you get that very real sense when you're in that position, don't you, Stefan, that group
people
is
are coming.
coming.
Yes.
I don't know how you pick it up, but you just know that you're going as fast as you can.
Exactly, you're already doing everything you can, and they are closing.
There's closing just the same.
It's not a good feeling.
You go through bizarre moments where you try to convince yourself that you're allowing them to catch up so that you can work with them, but you're not.
You're not.
There's mixture of fear, disappointment. It's just a really stressful situation to be in. You know you've got nothing you can do about it. Hopefully that group behind you gradually fades before they can close the gap. But this lead boat is just better. They're just better than the rest. Maybe that's an obvious thing to say, seeing as they're leading, Stefan, but the quality here is fantastic.
The coordination. What are you doing?
Reasonably tidy on the portage.
Oh, so nice.
Running through. We're going to hand signal or two to the officials here. We're clean this time. Try and stop us. The officials just looking at their toes. They're a little bit embarrassed on this lap. Nothing to see here. So first crew through. Tidy. Now, if the back person puts the back too far out, then they're pointing in the wrong direction. This is fine. Front of the boat is out further than the back, and they're away cleanly. And looking a little bit more cheerful than they were at this stage on the last lap, I'd say, Stefan.
Still talking.
Now here we go. Looking good so far. Looking good so far. A little bit slow from the Great Britain crew. Hungarians running well. Peters and Russell on their inside.
It's now 49.5 seconds. 49 seconds is the gap, so they have gained 20 seconds over this lap.
Uncomfortable looking running from the Hungarians there. Clearly water-based mammals, those ones, not real land movers. And chaos again from the Hungarians. Emptying their boat after the portage, and now the back of the boat is still stuck out way too far. They're going to get in. They've got to change the direction of the boat and manage to lose a good few seconds there. That's not too significant. They will catch the Great Britain crew, but what is significant is that the second group, or the following group behind them, will have made some gains again, and that pack of chasing hounds there is slowly but surely closing them down. It was 30 seconds the gap between those groups going into the portage, and it looks like about 20 coming out of it. I reckon these two have got time to touch up their makeup on the next lap, Stefan. So there you see it. It's one boat, two boats, then it's the Belgians leading the chase now to these two. Somewhere there's a Dane, yep, Dane's just behind the Belgians, but that gap now is looking like 20 seconds, 25 maybe, but certainly beginning to haul in Hungary too, and Great Britain. And these are nervous times on the turn, and Great Britain and Hungary look back. They will see it. So there's the gap. It's Belgium
that
Denmark.
Did a good portage, plus sisters from Belgium.
The Hungarians have already closed down the Great Britain crew and are leading again. A little bit of communication going on in the Great Britain boat. Sometimes a good sign, sometimes a bad sign when you're having a chat, isn't it? Hopefully this is good. They're just getting themselves organised. But those Belgians are making progress. Determination there. Belgium and Denmark can see now the very real possibility of a medal here. Oh, another 30-second time penalty for the Portuguese. What do you have to do to get a 30-second time penalty, Stefan? That's massive.
That's massive, and they must have done something really bad out there.
What could be that bad?
Turning a fellow competitor around or something like that.
We think that's maybe a boy missed on the turn.
Could be. It's 1 minute now. 1 minute, 1 minute 9 second lead for Korsos and Nagy.
So Korsos and Nagy, clear, comfortable, and plenty of time in hand.
20 seconds for plus sisters, exactly as you said.
It's
you were right this time.
So it's yeah, this is tense now.
Yeah.
For Great Britain and Hungary, this is tense. It's going to be a long chase. So boats 2 and 3 there, far from being contesting for first place, and now fighting for their lives.
They have done about 12 kilometers.
Organised, great boat skills from those three. Meanwhile, display at the front of the women's K2 continues. Boat speeds never dropping here. So if the information coming in on the chat on the live feed is right, the 30-second penalty could have been for throwing a drinks bag in the water, and that is, in my mind, a crime worth punishment. 30 seconds is harsh, but We cannot go around throwing drinks bags in the water. So, I don't know how these people are finding out the information that we can't find out, but keep bringing it in, guys. So, throwing drinks bags in the river, we've talked about it before from commentary. It's not acceptable. It seems like the marathon committee have decided that it's a crime worth punishment, and harsh though it is, I have to agree with that. So now, Focchetti trying to take it to the Great Britain crew, trying to increase the gap on the boats behind them. They know they've only got, I think, one more portage. So on lap 4 of 6 now. 2 more portages then, rather, so on lap 5 and 6. So here are the hounds. They're doing the chasing. It's Denmark and Belgium. Focchetti seemed to have woken up to that threat. In the last shot we saw of Focchetti, she was piling on a bit. Whoa. So here's the lead K2. Even the turn officials aren't interested now. Look, they're telling jokes. Telling jokes on the turn boat. Meanwhile, there's a race going on out there. Has no one told them? So here, Corsos and Nagy. Focchetti, for the time being, has let Peters and Russell take the strain. And the gap we see as they come around the turn, we should get our on-screen graphic telling us the gaps. The gap between first and second and third is just growing all the time. It's the gap between second and third in the chasing group. It was 20 seconds. I think Focchetti has woken up to the threat and has stretched that gap a little bit. You can see them in the distance, and the gap behind them is growing a little bit. We're looking 25, 30 seconds there. Graphics from the top turn apparently not working too well. Turn officials still telling each other jokes there. And Peters and Russell have got to work hard now. The boat's still running well. It's still going to be hard work for the second group to catch them, and I don't think they've made any progress since the last turn.
Seems like the gap still increases at the same rate as previously. It's 1 minute 20 seconds now.
It's this next gap back to the chasing 2. It looks bigger to me.
Yeah.
It was 20 seconds. And there goes Focchetti again. Each time Focchetti does this, she's going to pull about 4 or 5 30 second penalty.
It's bad behavior.
Yep.
I said it.
So there's Focchetti and her partner, Tanka. and the Great Britain crew, and it looks like that gap has stabilised. It's not closing anymore. Danger could have passed. It was very stressful for a while there, for a whole lap. That gap was closing, and it seems like the Belgians and Danes just run out of steam a little bit.
But it's still close enough for anything to happen if for instance, problems in the portage once again.
And problems in the portage are quite a strong possibility. We've seen that so many times now. So that's Belgium, Denmark and Italy. They're currently in 4th, 5th and 6th place respectively. As the lead boat come round towards the bridge. Retirement there. That's Malshaz from Georgia. These two, that's very relaxed now. So this, their penultimate portage. Staying on the grass. And running much better than the crews that are to follow. Nice coordination getting in there. Of course, it's much easier to make everything look nice when you're not under any pressure.
But that's the trick. Even if you are under pressure, you need to make it as cool.
To behave as if you're not. Yeah. So Korsos and Nagy through the portage.
Yes.
Second group here. Fichetti, Peters and Russell.
That gap has increased a lot. To the flying Hungarians in top.
So this, stressful times remain for these two. That gap isn't big behind them. Mistakes here.
Seems like
where does all the water come from in Fichetti's boat? You know,
it looks like they don't have any pump.
The same yesterday as well in the K1.
1:45.
Starting to look a bit stressful in the Great Britain camp there. Fichetti and Tanker. Front out. Great Britain leads the portage, and here come the Belgians. It's closing down again. These portages are costly for the Great Britain and Hungarian camp. So it's 26 seconds going into the portage. Belgians away. Danes away. And we're back to a 20-second gap again. Meanwhile, already up at the top turn. One big lap, one portage, and then a quick trip around the top turn and back, and it's game over for these two. So easy for these two now. Away from the Danes by about 10 seconds. So it's Belgium on the chase alone, and that will be a little bit of relief probably to the Hungarians and Great Britain crew when they get to the bottom turn and see that. But meanwhile, the Hungarian train chugs on at the front.
It's 24 seconds now, the gap behind between Denmark, the gap between Belgium and Hungary, Great Britain, 24 seconds.
That chase group has disintegrated, it's into single file now, and that takes away the threat quite considerably. So it looks like second and third place are pretty much assured, assuming nothing goes badly wrong. There it is, it's a rear view of Fiketti and Tanker and Peters and Russell, and they look secure now in second and third. It was a bit shaky for a couple of laps there. They were under threat and they knew it, but they've held it off, they've held it together. And now it's going to come down to a race between these two. Fiketti so strong yesterday on the finish, it's hard to see how she'll be beaten if it comes to a straight race to the finish. I think for Great Britain, you hope that Fiketti messes up those last porters to such an extent you get a little bit of a lead and try and capitalise on that. So the final bottom turn for these two. That's a comforting gap if you look back and see that there's absolutely no one in sight there. They've got all the way around the turn, they're around the left-hand bend, and we still can't see the chase pair. Well, to call them the chase pair is probably a bit ambitious. The following pair. And they just continue the inevitable hunt for gold. Here come the second group now. It's Peters and Russell leading into the turn. Fiketti hasn't let anyone lead into turns when she's had the choice. So maybe the balance of power's changing. No, here they go. Fiketti coming past again, and it's going to be the Hungarians into the turn first. Meanwhile, all the portage judges looking the wrong way, turn judges rather. They're having a nice day out this morning, Stefan, the judges there. Not much to do. All very calm. Final bottom turn, and they will be very relieved that this final bottom turn has come. They'll know now that the chase is over, they're not being hunted anymore, and it's a simple job of deciding which of these is going to take silver and which is going to take bronze. Quick look back from Freya Peters there. And that will be a very pleasing sight for them. The Danes have fallen almost back to the Italians now. Belgians are on to them out there. So here we come. It's the Spaniards going down to the bottom turn as the Hungarians approach the final portage. A few smiles there.
Smiling again. They should. They have done a wonderful race.
There weren't so many smiles early on though, Stefan.
No.
So pretty much foregone conclusion from after that portage where they took a penalty. They took a 15-second penalty, came out the portage 10 seconds ahead after that, and have never looked back since. Nicely out. Running through for the last time. Very simple procession up to the top turn and back. The others. Here we go. It's coming towards the bridge for the final time. And the Belgians just behind them. They're just going to run out of time, I think, the Belgians. There's just not enough time, is there?
Something happens in the portage. It could be a different story.
What we're looking at there, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. It's hard with the long shots like that, but it's not far. It's not impossible. Another boat emptying incident. Could see that gap close. But there's the bridge. It's only a minute to the portage, less than a minute now. And then a quick 5-minute trip up to the top and back. And time is just running out for the Belgians. They've stuck at their task very well, Stefan. They've broken the Danes, they've broken the Italians. That's a nice shot. We haven't had that shot yet, have we, from behind? I like that one. We're coming in to the portage. Got to come out of this clean. That gap is shrinking behind them. So here we go. Ketty out. Peters and Russell out. Here we go. They're running okay so far. Ketty, I think, has water down the front of her boat. It's looking heavy for her there. Get the back in first, push the front out. Slow, getting in, but they're going to be away. Get away with them, girls. Come on, come on.
Melhor articulação ali na dupla da Hungria. Seguem as atletas da Grã-Bretanha.
This is going to be tough for Ketty. It's going to break away, and it isn't going to be caught here. So it's Hungary 1, Hungary 2, and the chase is on. Great Britain have got to get a 5-minute up to the top and back and hold off the Belgians, who are only just behind them. So already round the top turn. Very much a lap of honour for Korsos and Nagy. victory is safe for them. It'd be great if we could see second group again, just to see what the damage was at the portage. I think it's going to be single file here. Hungary, from Great Britain. So there's the gap between second and third. It's pretty big, considering they were together when they came into the portage. Little glance across. This K2 has been travelling at exactly this speed for 6 laps now. Just relentless, on and on. We've got probably a minute or so to go to the finish. And that's Facchetti there. She's now clear in second with her partner, Tanka. So that's second place. They're going to come to the top turn alone. And some 15 seconds behind them now is Great Britain. We'll get the exact time checks for you as they go round past the box on the pontoon there, which is the timing kit. Give us the split times as they go round. So they're 2 minutes 15 behind the leaders, who we're just seeing approach the finish line. Here come the leaders. The simple last 30 metres for them. The gap between second and third is 17 seconds. And that was some display from those two.
Great victory for Hungary, Sofia Korsos and Victoria Nagy. I wonder how this race would have developed if this incident in the portage hadn't been. After that, they were just flying. There's
second and third.
Second and third, yes.
17 seconds at the turn, the gap. It's not going to get any smaller. And the gap between third and fourth is 18 seconds. So it looks like these two positions are safe. There's second, third and fourth all in shot. These two have stuck at their task so well today. They worked with the Danes until the Danes weren't strong enough anymore. It became a war of attrition in that second group. Only the Belgians survived. So it's going to be Hungary 1, Hungary 2, not for the first time and maybe not for the last time this weekend. So Emise Tanka, Dorina Facchetti are going to come second. It's going to be Freya Peters, Emma Russell third. Good result for them. I know for a lot of these teams, Stefan, with the World Championships being in South Africa, expensive trip, results here are going to count for quite a lot towards that for a lot of the teams. They have to show that they're a potential for the World Championships. And there's a lot riding on these results. So second place approaching the finish line now. Hungary 2, not quite as tidy as the first Hungarian boat. Nevertheless, it's second place. They probably would rather have finished with their compatriots, but it wasn't to be today.
Yes, they seem really happy about it. Dorina Facchetti and Emise Tanka.
Across the line, Peters and Russell, fantastic result for them.
They are so happy.
Very strong on the first half.
so happy for their medal. 6th last year and now medal.
Stuck to it well. Oh. Never looks good vomiting on screen, does it, Stefan? Luckily the cameraman was alert to that, turned away just in time.
4th, Belgium, Hanna Platz and Jocke Platz.
They really impressed today.
Yes.
Did a good job. I think the group getting split up on that first turn with a bit of friction and a bit of collision between boats had a big part to play in who got away with the front group. These girls did very, very well today, both those crews. Now across the line come the Italians and the Danes. Italians in the front 4 for those first couple of laps.
Teresa Isotta and Natalia Campagna from Italy as the 5th position. And Denmark by Anne Sørensen and Fredrik Maretti.
Village here. Here's the highlights. Women's K2 Junior